What happens when one of Hollywood's most intense actors gets ambushed on live television? Things went completely off the rails when Tom Hardy lost his cool during what was supposed to be a routine interview on the Today Show with Craig Melvin. What started as a standard morning appearance turned into a masterclass in how not to handle an interview, and Hardy made sure everyone watching knew it. It began innocently enough. Hardy walked onto the set in his trademark leather jacket, calm and collected, while Melvin greeted him with that polished morning show smile. But Hardy seemed to sense something was off almost immediately. After a few pleasantries, Melvin leaned in. "So, Tom, before we talk about your latest project, I want to address some reports circulating online. Serious allegations about your behavior on set." The room went silent. Hardy's expression barely changed, but the energy shifted instantly. "What allegations would those be?" he asked, his voice steady but edged with danger. Melvin pressed on, citing unnamed sources who called Hardy difficult and unprofessional. That's when Hardy's demeanor hardened. "Unnamed sources," he repeated slowly. "So you brought me here under the pretense of promoting my work only to ambush me with gossip?" Melvin tried to deflect, calling it standard journalism, but Hardy wasn't having it. "Standard journalism?" he shot back. "Is that what you call it when you can't verify your sources or back up your claims?" The tension was electric. The studio audience sat frozen. Even the cameras seemed to hesitate. Hardy leaned forward, his voice low and controlled. "I've worked with Christopher Nolan, Ridley Scott, Leonardo DiCaprio, Christian Bale. Funny how none of them have a problem working with me." By then, Melvin's composure was cracking. He told Hardy to calm down, and that was the final straw. "Don't tell me to calm down, mate," Hardy said, his tone sharp. "If you want to do journalism, do it properly. Otherwise, don't waste people's time." What happened next has since gone viral. An unforgettable on-air clash that left Melvin visibly shaken and reminded everyone why Tom Hardy is one of the most compelling, unpredictable figures in Hollywood today. That was the moment everything changed. You could see it in Tom Hardy's eyes, a flash of something dangerous, and suddenly everyone in the studio knew the temperature had dropped. The tension was electric. The words "calm down" hung in the air like a lit fuse. Hardy's entire demeanor shifted. The quiet intensity that had powered characters like Bronson and Alfie Solomons was now completely real, and it was aimed straight at Craig Melvin. "Calm down?" Hardy repeated, his voice barely above a whisper, low, sharp, and infinitely more intimidating than if he'd shouted. "Did you just tell me to calm down after ambushing me with lies on your show?" Melvin's smile faltered. He knew instantly he'd made a huge mistake. Hardy rose from his chair slowly, not in aggression, but with the deliberate calm of a man who'd reached his limit. "You know what, Craig?" Hardy said, towering over the seated host. "Let me tell you something about professionalism, since you seem so worried about it. Real journalists verify their sources. They don't lure guests onto their shows under false pretenses." Melvin tried to regain control. "Tom, please, let's just sit down." "No," Hardy cut him off. "I'm not sitting down. I'm not playing your game anymore. You want to see difficult? Let me show you what difficult really looks like." The studio was dead silent. Audience members froze, some wide-eyed, others pulling out their phones to record what was clearly turning into live television history. Hardy began pacing, calm but coiled with energy. "You see, Craig," he said, "when someone like Christopher Nolan or Ridley Scott calls me difficult, I'll listen. But when a morning show host who probably couldn't direct traffic decides to lecture me about my career based on anonymous gossip, that's where I draw the line." Melvin tried to speak. "Tom, I never said I was lecturing you." "Didn't you?" Hardy snapped, turning sharply. "Because from where I'm standing, it sure sounded like you were trying to dress me down on live television." "Tell me, Craig, how many films have you made? How many characters have you brought to life? How many times have you transformed your entire body for a role?" Melvin had no answer. Everyone watching knew it. "That's what I thought," Hardy continued. "Maybe you should stick to asking about the weather and leave the real work to people who actually know what they're doing." Melvin was visibly sweating now, his confidence cracking under the weight of Hardy's words. "Tom, I think there's been a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" Hardy laughed, a dry, humorless sound. The only misunderstanding here is that you thought you could use me to make a name for yourself. Did you really think I'd sit here and let you assassinate my character with gossip? I was just doing my job, Melvin managed. Your job? Hardy shot back. Your job is to entertain people in the morning, talk about movies, feel-good stories, maybe a bit of celebrity fluff. What it's not is pretending you're some kind of investigative journalist throwing around unverified claims. Every camera in the room caught it. Every glare, every pause, every cutting word. This wasn't an interview anymore. It was a total dismantling. Hardy's voice softened again, quiet but more commanding than ever. You know what's really sad, Craig? I actually came here today excited to talk about my work, the craft, the collaboration, the art. But instead, you turned it into a hit piece built on nothing. Melvin tried one last time to recover. Tom, perhaps we can start over. Talk about your latest project. Hardy just stared at him, disbelief written all over his face. Start over? After this? After you ambush me with lies and then tell me to calm down? No, Craig, we're not starting over. The silence that followed was thick enough to feel. Hardy stood there, every inch the powerhouse actor the world knew him to be, while Melvin looked like a man who just realized he was completely out of his depth. Finally, Hardy spoke. Here's what's going to happen, Craig. I'm going to walk off this set, and you're going to sit there and think about what real professionalism looks like. And maybe next time you have a guest, you'll remember what respect actually means. He started to walk away, then paused, turning back with one last ice-cold look. Oh, and Craig, next time, do your homework. With that, Tom Hardy left the set, and what followed became one of the most talked-about live TV moments of the decade. Oh, and Craig, Hardy said, his voice carrying that cold, cutting weight that once made Bane so unforgettable. Next time you want to play journalist, maybe try learning how to be one first. The words landed like a punch. Melvin blinked, stunned, but before he could even respond, Hardy turned back, his intensity now fully controlled, deliberate. Actually, you know what, Craig? He said, facing him squarely. I've changed my mind. I'm not walking off just yet, because I think the people watching deserve to understand exactly what just happened here. Hardy stepped closer to the desk, calm but commanding, the kind of presence that owned every inch of the room. Ladies and gentlemen, he said, turning directly to the camera, what you just witnessed is what happens when someone in the media tries to build their career by tearing others down. Craig here thought he could make a name for himself by ambushing me with unverified gossip. Melvin tried to interject. Tom, that's not what I... Hardy didn't even look at him. See, that's the problem with modern media, he continued. They don't want to do the real work of journalism. They'd rather chase rumors and clicks because it's easier and it gets attention. The control room must have been in chaos, but the cameras kept rolling. Nobody dared cut away. Hardy wasn't out of control. He was in complete command. Craig invited me here under the pretense of discussing my work, he said. But what he really wanted was a viral meltdown, something he could spin into ratings. Well, congratulations, Craig. You got your viral moment, just not the one you wanted. Now Hardy turned back to face the host directly. Tell me, Craig, do you feel good about this? Do you feel proud of how you handled yourself as a journalist? Melvin's mouth opened, but no words came out. I'll take that silence as a no, Hardy said evenly. Because deep down, you know ambushing your guest with baseless accusations isn't journalism. It's character assassination. He began pacing slowly like a professor addressing a classroom. You see, Craig, when I do my job, I prepare, I study. I understand motivation, collaboration, craft. When you do yours, apparently, you just throw mud and hope something sticks. The audience was riveted, phones out, eyes wide, hanging on every word. But here's what really bothers me, Hardy went on, his tone softening but growing heavier. It's not just about me. How many other people have you ambushed like this? How many reputations have you chipped away at for the sake of a few extra views? Melvin finally managed to croak out, Tom, I think you're being unfair. Hardy's eyebrows lifted. Unfair? Craig, you invited me here. You misled me about your intentions. You attacked my reputation with unverified gossip, and when I defended myself, you told me to calm down. And now I'm being unfair? The silence that followed was crushing. Hardy stared down at him, his expression unreadable. You know what, Craig? I actually feel sorry for you. Because this moment is going to follow you for the rest of your career. People are going to remember the day you tried to take down Tom Hardy and ended up destroying your own credibility instead. Hardy straightened his jacket, then looked straight into the camera one last time. To anyone in media watching this, let it be a lesson. Do your research, verify your sources, and above all, treat people with respect. We're human beings, not headlines. Finally, he turned back to Melvin. As for you, Craig, I hope you learned something today. Though somehow, I doubt it. With that, Hardy walked off the set, calm, composed, and utterly victorious, leaving Craig Melvin sitting frozen at his desk, staring into the void of a moment he'd never lived down. The studio stayed silent for several long seconds. Then, slowly, applause broke out, hesitant at first, then growing louder, until even the control room couldn't ignore it. One thing was certain, this wasn't just another celebrity interview. It was a masterclass in handling media manipulation, and a live television moment that would be remembered for years to come. Subscribe to Midnight Rewind for more jaw-dropping confrontations, viral interviews, and unforgettable moments that made TV history.